So his dad, Mohammed bin Laden, had 22 wives and 54 children. Isn't that insane?
They're slinging in Islam over there.
So Osama. I know. Well, it's weird because I want to talk about honestly some stuff with Islam and sexuality because it has actually some relevance to what we're talking about. But Osama bin Laden was his 17th son, and his name means lion, which is I thought was really interesting. So he grew up in this place, Jeddah, which this part of Saudi Arabia, if you look at the map, it's like the left part that borders the Red Sea. And as he grew up, he didn't really speak to a lot of kids. Once again, wasn't quite a loner, but he was just on the quieter side. Something really interesting. Even his father ended up dying in a plane crash when he was young. Right. It's like what the hell is going on? Just some of these weird. And as we go through these 2 episodes, guys, for who you are listening, there are so many things that are sometimes you get presented this information. It's like, okay, does this lead to a conspiracy or something bigger? Or is this just strangely just peculiar and odd? And, that's the only words that are popping into my mind. I'm sure there are better ones. But, so for bin Laden, his father was one of Shane. Now, I don't know if you want to add anything of this, but was he a multimillionaire or was he a billionaire? Because I know that he renovated the mosques in Medina and Jerusalem.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I had no.
Dude, yeah. Some of the Saudis have real money.
Yeah, and obviously, I don't know if I said this. Bin Laden was a Saudi, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry to cut you off there. So, as he was growing up, so he enrolled in this place called, I think, El Thagr, which was one of the most prestigious schools, I think, in Saudi Arabia at the time. Some of his siblings went to school in Lebanon. So, shortly after, his mother remarries one of the employees under Mohammed bin Laden, and so she took that family and moved away or whatever. So bin Laden became an only child essentially.
It was a $5 billion construction industry.
Was it really? Yeah, that is insane, man.
And he inherited
that's
around
that's
$30
like
million.
Dan building his house right now.
Oh yeah,
$5 billion. Dan's building his Dan's building a freaking mansion right now.
Gosh. So at 14, bin Laden has a political, spiritual awakening, right? So on a random note, at this time, he also actually. So when I didn't know a lot about bin Laden, obviously I rewatched Zero Dark 30 a couple months ago.
Great movie.
Just another great movie. Once again, if anyone wants to check out some of that stuff as well. Because I heard this one crazy thing that bin Laden went to the U.S. Bin Laden never went to the U.S. At least it's not recorded, but he did go to London and he went to the Oxford area for 10 weeks while he was in school. So and at this time, so bin Laden was a guy that was not quick to anger. He was very in control of his emotions and whatever. But as I'm gonna mention this other guy, Saeed Qutb, later. But he was always raged at the sexual nature of the West, and I don't know how this would be an interesting thing to look up. Actually, I should do this at some point. Is that I wonder if London and the UK is considered the West? Because I wouldn't assume it to be, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
dude. Anything that's not, I'd say anything past Turkey, they consider the West.
Yeah,
but the concept of the West is more ideological than it is geographical. It's it's the free society that those cultures hate. Wow. Islam and.
But weren't they? So they were also bombing Yemen and Kenya.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
trust me, we'll get to all of it.
Yeah.
But once again, so at 17 he gets married and joins the Muslim Brotherhood. So another fun fact is bin Laden did consume a lot of parts of Western pop culture, even though he hated it. So this would be stuff
what did they find at his compound?
Well, they found a couple things, but
used.
You know what? You guys know what I'm talking about.
So even when he was younger, he enjoyed some pop culture like Counter-Strike, Tom and Jerry, Naruto, Harry Potter, Final Fantasy,
Which his religion tells him to hate. but he was in.
Well, another thing too that I was even talking about Dad about this, like Muslims are very strict about like sexuality and whatever, but yet you have 22 wives. Like that doesn't make sense.
Dude, do you know Khabib, the UFC fighter?
Oh, did you see the handshake?
Yeah, he was doing an interview at like a soccer stadium, and a woman reached out her hand to shake his hand, and he's like, "No, sorry, can't do." Wow. And that's because in their religion, they can't have any contact with a woman that's not their wife.
And then I Show Speed did the same thing.
He did.
Wow.
He's a troll, dude, that guy.
Wow. So like what made Bin Laden radical? Do you guys want to give your thoughts on it? Because at the time, once again, growing up, and this is really telling in a way where until I like actually did some freaking research, I thought it's the whole. It's all good. That the Muslims hate us because of our freedom, and that really is quite an arrogant answer. You guys have thoughts on why he became radical?
I do not.
Get right more on the right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he was going after Jews and Americans.
Yeah.
Specifically, a lot of it might be spiritual.
I think there is a very spiritual.
Well, because the way he declared holy war on America. So it's all spiritual, and it's like, but that's the thing with looking at this Middle Eastern stuff. Like, I used to be on the thought process like, oh, all terrorists do this, but there's different levels of terrorists. Yeah. Like, there's many levels.
To be very clear, obviously, radical Islam is not the same as
like
a practicing Muslim.
Right.
Of course not. And clearly, obviously, Muslims in New York and all over America, like, did experience like discrimination, a lot of discrimination through this,
but yeah,
which is unfortunate. But also, I'm not justifying it all, of course. But if so many people died, and not only, once again, people there's so many different ways that people even died at 9/11. So
right, no, but going back to it, if you want to talk about specifically like what radicalized him, even he was banned from Saudi Arabia in 1991 because his views were so radical. And then in 1996, he moved to Afghanistan, and that's where he was supported by the Taliban at the time. And then same year, 1996, that's when he declared the two holy wars, and it's called the Fatwa.
The Fatwa.
Right. Declaration of Jihad.
Yes. And then he supported... Shortly after, he supported Al Qaeda's bombings of the embassies, which Dan was talking about.
Yeah.
So I think it was a trickle effect, him becoming more and more radical, gaining massive support.
Right. And at this time, like, Bin Laden has a crap ton of money because he's still in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
One interesting thing, too, that I'm glad that I learned some of this, because I'm like, it seems like all these terrorists, whether it's Bin Laden, al-Zawahiri, or even like later on for ISIS, like, what's his name? Zakari, yeah. Zakawi. They're all over many different countries. I just named 3 different people, but Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Pakistan, Iran, all this stuff. So, once again, one of the reasons why he became radical is when is American occupation of in Saudi Arabia specifically.
Right.
And also at this time, like, he sees women that are in the army, and that is deeply offensive, to their beliefs and whatever. So just to add just a little bit more context to what Shane just said. So in 1979, he goes to Afghanistan to fight the Soviets in the with the Mujahideen. Because what was the timeline? When did the Soviets actually invade? Was it 79?
Yeah, it was around that time.
To 89.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1982, Bin Laden claims his hatred for Americans began when Israel invades Lebanon through this operation called Grapes of Wrath. So apparently there was one specific part of
good
this
book,
operation.
by the way.
Yeah,
Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck.
There's one part of this operation where basically over 100 women and children just get killed, and this is through Israel. But America, obviously, as everyone knows, very much supports Israel. So, once again, just adding more stuff to what Shane already said. Like 85, Bin Laden meets Zawahiri in Peshawar, Pakistan, and he's a surgeon. This guy Al Zawahiri becomes the number 2 in Al Qaeda. In 1989, the war ends in the with the Soviet Union, and he returns to Saudi Arabia to work for his family's construction firm. Then, as Shane said, 91/92, he gets banished. And this is when he travels to Sudan, where there had been recently an Islamist overthrow of the government. So in here, once again, as Shane said, he plans the Yemen attacks. And at this point, he has $250 million with him in assets through his father's company and whatever. So also at this time, Robert Fisk, I think he was with CNN. So he does an interview with Bin Laden in Sudan in '93, and this is when once again Bin Laden begins to transition the Mujahideen, who are the freedom fighters in Afghanistan, to Al Qaeda.
Now that's the same time of the bombing.
Right. Right. So
was that after or before?
Well, the thing is, there was a couple different things that happened. So I'm going to go through a couple more things with Bin Laden, and then we're going to go to Al Qaeda, which will have to do with the other attacks. So, here we go. So, once again, 1994, his citizenship is revoked from Saudi Arabia. And another crazy fact: between 1995 and 1996, he was offered for money worth at current day's time $533 million to cease jihad from the Saudi Arabian government. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
It blows my mind, some of this stuff. And once again, after this time, his family in Saudi Arabia disowns him. In 1996, he then moves to Afghanistan, where the Taliban kind of bring him in and kind of assimilate him into their part of life. And once again, in 1993, we have as the Battle of Mogadishu, right? There's a great movie on this called Black Hawk Down. Some people in this room don't like this movie, but that's okay. We're gonna just overgloss that factor. But overall, the Battle of Mogadishu, 18 American Army Rangers were killed, and it was
Did 2 helicopters go down in that movie?
Yes. So that was part of Operation, I think it's called Restore Hope. So that was when we were basically, I think that the stats were something like 350,000 people in Somalia died from starvation.
Right.
And then
because the warlords were hogging the food and
terrible. And there's 100 million people displaced from homes. It was terrible. But this specific 1993, not that it was already starting, like I said, once again, Bin Laden's hatred for America started in 82, but 1993, he's like, he didn't have much to do with the Somali insurgency and warlord that was going on there. But this is when he's like, oh, you can actually attack Americans. Like, they're not like...
they're not untouchable.
Not untouchable. So obviously there's another thing that comes up where he really fully believes it, and that's when he really becomes on the offensive, as for aggressive strikes and attacks against America. But it was this specific part where he actually wasn't really related to anything that happened in Somalia, but he claimed it as we had people, I had cells and
within his network
in Somalia.
Yeah.